maybe around St. Patrick's Day.
We should totally do it.
St. Patrick's Day. We could do a whole thing about how Christianity aligns with the pagan holidays.
Oh, I want to do the histories of Christmas time.
Yes.
Christmas trees are not a Christian.
No, it's pagan.
That's totally pagan, and it was gross.
But we definitely should, around all holidays, talk about the traditions, where the history come from, because I think it's really kind of cool and important to know. No.
You don't know. And, I was an adult before I realized that, like...
I was in my 20s.
Like, Jesus' birth happened more towards Easter.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? It's in the winter. No, it wasn't. I'm like, oh, okay.
So now...
I like to know stuff.
Me too. Now, with Halloween, now with COVID, it's totally different than it has been. Over the past years, we've seen a decline in trick-or-treating because there's been a lot of mall trick-or-treating. People don't have to be outside in the elements. There's a lot of school stuff. There's a lot of community parties.
Right.
Trunk-or-treating.
Yep, I've done the mall once with my kids when they were little and it was raining. Because they were little.
Yeah.
I don't want to drag my kids around in the rain. And we don't live in town.
Right. So
we have to drive regardless. So... We've done that. We really, like last year during COVID, we did not go out trick-or-treating, but we did a trick-or-treat hide and seek. That was my thing.
That was fun. We didn't do, I didn't give out candy last year just because of COVID.
Trick-or-treat hide and seek. I want that to become our normal tradition because the kids, we just hid little baggies of treats all around the yard like Easter time.
Yeah.
And then we sat on the deck with a fire in the chimney and drank beer. It was awesome. Like, ooh, yay, I can drink. I don't have to worry about nothing. The kids are playing. They got the costumes on.
I love Halloween night, and I always give out candy on my porch, and I dress as a witch, and I usually decorate my yard, which I probably won't be doing that this year just because of my neck, but because I'm the only one that really gets into it as much. But it's one of my favorite things is to hand out candy to little ones when they come to the house. But I haven't seen a lot. Like even the years before COVID, it was less. We live in a part of town. I live in a part of town where it's like people drive their kids to that section of town from all other places because I live near some rich people. I'm not. The street I'm on isn't, but the couple streets around it are.
Right.
So all these people come to go on those streets because they're full. I remember as a kid, it was like, you got to go to that street's full size candy bars.
I remember going trick or treating. The last year I went trick or treating, I went with you. We went downtown. We're like, we're going here. I'm like, I got $1 bill.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like I got a full size Hershey bar, or like
exactly.
It was a Milky Way, is what it was. It's weird that I remember that because it was like the crowning achievement, and I was like 17.
We went as
I was a nun that had gotten bit by a vampire.
Yeah, and I was the vampire.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was a nun with vampire bites because that went over real well. But I've always been on the short side.
No one got the vampire thing. They just thought you were a nun.
I know, and I'm like, I was all white, and I had vampire bites on my neck. Like, oh, it's sister. How are you, sister? I'm like, fine, Sister Mary Margaret. I'm like, we got the Margaret part right. But I was
Margaret Elizabeth.
And you were 16.
Yep.
And I was 17. And it was technically back then. It was like once you hit like 16 is when you stopped trick or treating. But I was short and I looked younger than you, so I got away with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would go trick or treating still.
Listen, I would give adults I would give anyone that comes to mind. I don't care if you at least have. Well, I like if you wear a costume, even if you don't. If you're not doing anything wrong and you're coming, I'm gonna give you candy. I don't care how old you are.
After Ruben and I got married, we lived in Calcium at his cousin's house that he was renting to us. And then when we moved downtown into Watertown, we moved on Scioto Street, right off Arsenal Street. Was so excited for trick-or-treaters. I can't even tell you. I bought tons of candy and I waited. I had 2 kids.
Because you lived in that little tiny
because I lived in a dead-end street.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it was a bunch of crack house. It was not a better street. I think some of the kids that lived in the crack house apartment across from us, they came and got candy.
Aww.
And then they went on their way. But they were the only kids we saw all night, and I was like, I wanted to cry. I was so sad.
So here are some just cool facts about Halloween. Today, Americans spend $6 billion annually on Halloween. It's the second largest holiday next to Christmas. It's become a commercial success. I mean, capitalism has gone right. They just love it.
Tons of candy everywhere.
Halloween slasher movies and Halloween and slasher movies have been big. You think of especially when
I'm sorry.
Especially when in 1978 Halloween was released, with Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis was in it. Inspired, tons of other movies that come out like Scream, Nightmare Before Christmas.
I was not big in the Scream movie. I think we were older that we'd seen all like the good scary movies. When Scream came out, we went to the theater and we're like, that was not scary at all. I was so disappointed. I was like,
and now there's movies, you know, like Hocus Pocus, Beetlejuice, all that. Like in Halloween becomes a day to release those kind of movies, and Halloween Town and all those. There's family friendly ones, and then there's spooky ones.
The Wild Center, which is in Tupper Lake, which is amazing. You guys got to go there. They're having a fright.
Oh, are they?
Like a Halloween frightening woods walk.
How cool!
I totally want to do it. Like, holy crap, I want to do that. That place is awesome anyway.
Yeah.
Look it up. They have like this awesome sculpture made of sticks in the woods, and it's like amazing. It looks like something from a anime movie about aliens. It's like crazy cool. Wicked cool.
Did you know that Samhain phobia is a fear of Halloween? There's a real phobia about it.
Oh, not me. Fear of it ending.
Yeah. Halloween's been called many things. All Hallows Eve, Witches' Night, Lamb's Wool, and Snap-Apple Night were some of the names. Okay. And I didn't really look into that far, but I just knew that were the things. Did you know that it's a tradition that if you wear your clothes inside out and walk backwards on Halloween, you'll see a witch at midnight? I'm going to try that this year. I'll just look in the mirror. Salem, Massachusetts, and Anoka. Please don't come at me if I get that wrong. Minnesota are self-proclaimed Halloween capitals of the world.
Minnesota?
Yeah, there's a place in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was Halloween Town was filmed. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
The Village Halloween Parade in New York
Same
City
area.
is the biggest in the United States, which we would expect it to be the biggest.
I've been to Salem. That's where my husband and I went on our honeymoon.
I've never been to
That's the
Salem.
type of people we are. And I say we, and I mean me. He just went there because that's where I wanted to go. He didn't really care. He would have been happy staying home. I'm like, we're going to Salem on our honeymoon. Okay.
France and Australia see Halloween as unwarranted and overly commercialized American influence. Like they think we're idiots over here anyway. Probably.
We have fun though.
Yeah. Children are 2 times more likely to be killed in a pedestrian or car accident on Halloween night than any other night, which makes perfect sense. You have to don't worry about the razor blades. Hold your kid's hand, basically.
Right.
And they associated bats, cats, and owls because in medieval times, but with witches, they said they were their familiars. And that became Witches' Night, and they always connected all that to be evil, but really it wasn't evil at all.
We got a new black kitty at my house. He's very sweet and purrs.
Costumes, like I said, it started in rural America, really embraced the pagan roots, and it was all about disguising who you were, and they were hideous and awful. And then in the 20s and 30s, adults got in on the action more, or children and adults had parties more, so you started to see some pop culture things like Popeye and Olive Oil and Little Orphan Annie and Mickey Mouse showing up and stuff. And then when TV came into the homes, you saw more pop culture stuff. And then the 80s, you started seeing things like 70s, like Star Wars, and then you saw slasher film, scary stuff, and then,
you know something odd? I love Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. I've never ever dressed up like a Star Wars character.
Never?
Never.
Now, it used to be homemade everything, like the 50s, the 60s, 70s, even 80s, but then it became, when they bought costumes back in like the 60s, they were like paper masks and these plastic things you wore, like aprons. They were horrible and they were awful. And
they were
those
in the 80s. It was a plastic, ugly mask and
like
a plastic.
He-Man. I remember a He-Man one.
Yes, and it was awful with like the holes for the eyes.
Yeah.
It was like a plastic thing that they wore, like an apron thing, and it was no. My mom always made our costumes in school before we couldn't afford the shitty plastic costumes, so.
Which was better.
It was way better.
And you know, E.T. was huge, and that was the most popular costume in the 80s, along with horror movie characters. And then in the 90s, things went for like brands like McDonald's French fries and Tootsie Rolls and things like that. And then in the 2000s, you saw a lot of political stuff pop in to like Clinton and Hillary masks, stuff like that. Another thing Halloween kind of did was really show people with their racism. There was blackfacing, there was cultural appropriation, there's fascination with like dressing up like indigenous person, but very stereotypical, and dressing up like you're from Asia, but it was very stereotypical and kind of offensive. Everything was kind of offensive. There was a lot going on with that for a long time, and I think it's one of those things that you do as best you can until you know better than do better.
Right.
We do better now.
For sure.
So those are just some fun things. And now we see even people's animals and pets. Pets are getting involved in people's birds have costumes, cats, dogs, goats, pigs.
Renee puts costumes on her cat. And her, my sister Renee has 2 greyhounds, and her big male greyhound, she has an AT-AT from Star Wars, and I freaking love that. That's amazing.
I get costumes for my dogs. I haven't bought one this year, but I put it on and take a picture and post it. And my son always laughs, like, Mom, you buy those costumes from them, wear them for 2 minutes so you can take a picture. Oh, yes, I do. Every year. Because Piper rips them off herself. She's
a little wiener dog. Did you ever put her in a hot dog costume? Mm-mm. She needs to be a hot dog.
I know
she is a hot dog. And she's fat.
And that's not offensive.
It's not. She needs to have a bun. She needs to have a bun and look like it has ketchup and mustard swirl on her back. I saw Jamie Lee Curtis posted a picture of herself dressed like her mother from Psycho. And I'm like, I love that so much.
That was Halloween Kills red carpet, like their premiere. But Rich and I watched Halloween Kills last night. Horrible.
Go to the movie theater?
No, it's on Peacock. You can stream it. I'm not going to say anything about it other than it was terrible. And I was very disappointed and sad. And I'm sorry if you enjoyed it, or if I'm putting something in your head before you've seen it. But I'm just warning you, I might not want to spend my money on it.
I did go see the new Venom movie with Ruben. We went on a date the other night.
So did Rich and I went on a date the other night.
That was the day we went and saw the new Mediterranean restaurant in the mall.
It was like the next day.
Yes,
we went.
Did you eat the Mediterranean restaurant?
No, because did we eat that before? I don't know what we did. We ate afterwards at Tully's.
They have good fluff.
I wanted to eat there, but I don't know if Rich would eat. Oh, he does like.
They had lamb and
he likes to eat lamb,
and they had chicken for the traditional
gyro
foods, whatever. But they're more. I think they're more like Middle Eastern Mediterranean. Djibouti.
So, what are you guys doing for Halloween this year?
I've got littles, so we'll go trick or treating. Unless I feel like we should do trick or treat, hide and seek, and I can just stay home and drink
I would
beer.
do that.
It's so much fun.
I already started to stockpile my candy. So I'll sit home and dress up. And
Colleen brought sugar cookies, pumpkin shaped ones with frosting and sprinkles on them. She got them at Tops. Holy crap, are they good? Oh my god! I just want to eat all of them. They're so yummy. And another funny thing, we love Smarties in my house. Like always, like you get Smarties in your stocking, you get Smarties in for
every
Halloween.
Holiday.
You get them in your Easter basket just because they're vegan candy and they're just amazingly good, right? Remember the first time I went? It wasn't the first time I was in Canada, but as a teenager or an adult, you go to Canada, like, oh, they have Smarties. Not the same thing.
No.
They're chocolate. And not that chocolate's bad, but
it wasn't what you thought.
Like, how are these named the same thing and they're so different from each other?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah. And they're kind of like an M&M.
Yes, they're exactly.
But they're not.
They're like
M&M.
Nestle's version.
Yeah, Smarties. But we don't have those here.
No, we have the
Smarties
that are sour kind of.
Someone in my, I think I was in 8th grade, and someone in my class, crushed up and snorted Smarties because they thought they were cool.
That puts you in the hospital.
That's not good for you. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Kids are so...
We're all dumb when we're young.
Yeah, when I was in Campo Basso, there was some kid that did that with sweet tarts. It had to burn. Those are sour.
No. I'm surprised no one did it with Pixie Sticks. That makes more sense. It's already a powder. But anyway. So we hope that we have another episode before Halloween, and we have a special one coming up. It's going to be released on Halloween. So the week of Halloween, which is Halloween's a Sunday, you're going to get 2 episodes from us that week. How lucky are you?
Yeah.
If you have any ideas of upcoming episodes, you should totally email us at
thecousinsweird@gmail.com.
You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, and on YouTube, which you can listen to our podcast on YouTube. You just can't see us, but you can hear us.
We have a website.
And we have a website. But to follow us on those things, it's The Cousins Weird on all of them. And we have a website. It is thecousinsweird.godaddysites.com because we're too cheap to afford our own domain name. We will.
Especially if you go to buy me a coffee /Cousins Weird.
buymeacoffee.com/the